At least here in the US, we associate a lot of our personal identity with the workplace, who we are, what we do, how we project ourselves to our friends and family, people in the community. Do you feel the need to maybe sort of reinvent that after reaching FI, stepping away from the workplace? What are your thoughts on that?
It's funny because I think there's a distinction between title, like your job title, and your abilities and things that you enjoy and that you have capabilities in.
But that's your identity too, right?
And that's, yeah, there's like your workplace identity. Like I have a job that is at this level and people see me in this way. And that's obviously gone. And that's not likely to come back unless I go back on my sort of path here and re-enter the biotech workplace. That's never going to return. I'll never be VP of whatever. And I'm okay with that. So that is gone. So the question remains, what am I now? Somebody who's enjoying finding their way in the world. I'm still a parent. I'm still a spouse. I'm still somebody who enjoys education and learning and building skills and trying to contribute in whatever ways I can. And we'll see what that translates to. But for sure, my identity changed.
I think the hard part is, and I'm only just starting to have these conversations because I'm opening the door to some people and saying, oh, this is what I'm thinking of doing next. You know, so I'm saying locally here, you feel compelled to answer what you're going to do. And so a lot of that is, I think, a fear of losing your identity or what people identify you with. You know, like people think of me here as an architect primarily, you know, and I don't actually even think of myself as an architect as much as I think of myself as like a content creator or a photographer, like kind of short filmmaker. Like that's my personal identity.
And is that due to percent time you spend in each endeavor these days, or like just personally how you think of yourself? Like what do you think underlies that?
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with time. Like where you spend your time is what you're interested in, and therefore by extension becomes who you are. And the only kind of way I can frame this is how the business on day one and my identity as an architect evolved into business on year 8, and how I think of myself as a cluster of different things. And I'm just way more comfortable being the cluster of things and being able to dip in and out of all of these different disciplines and interests rather than just being one thing. So I think I'm not sure that's accessible to everybody. And one of the things maybe that you found in this first year of, you know, FI is that you can be all of these different things and you don't have to be defined by one thing, but it's an uncomfortable process kind of come to terms with that, because you're used to being the one thing. You're used to coming up with an answer for, so what do you do? It's like, well, now the answer has to be, I do all of these different things, you know, a little bit of everything. Yeah. And that's not an easy answer to give, like at a cocktail party.
Correct. Personally, I'm very comfortable with where I am and what I'm doing. Yeah. But it is difficult to explain to others, and it can be frustrating when everybody wants an answer. Because
you have to justify it.
Right. And for some of them, they want you to sort of justify the decision you've taken. And that often says a lot about the people you're talking to, quite honestly. Yeah. But I also know that doesn't it make you want to turn around and say, well, why are you a scientist? Like, why are you still a VP of science or something like that? Like, that's the kind of there's a part of me that gets like really kind of gets me fired up inside. I know you can't really do that at cocktail parties very easily, but depends how well you know the people, I guess.
Makes you the aggressive drunk.
Or just aggressive. I mean, for me, usually my response goes something, you know, along the lines, especially if we're talking about somebody you know well. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of ways to go through life, right? I mean, being a hermit and living in a cave is just as valid a choice as the traditional sort of Western ethos of what, you know, adult life is supposed to be like, right? How could you say one is less valid? Well, maybe less common, but it's not the only way. And, you know, for me, I could easily get just as judgy about people living completely consumption lifestyles, right? Constantly buying boats and jet skis and vacation property that they can't actually afford, and then complaining about not being able to afford things, and saying that they have to work until 70 because it's the only way they can pay for it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't do that. There's a lot of different choices that we make, and there's a lot of different desires we have and things that will make us feel fulfilled. And for me and you and others on this path, we have decided at a certain point after which we achieve financial independence, we are likely to stop doing what we're doing, or at least change the way in which we have done it for years, because we have other things we want to do.
Yeah. I don't want my definition of my personal identity to be inextricably linked to how I earn money.
Yeah, me. Exactly.
As a conscious choice.
Yeah. We are on the same page. And, you know, honestly, I'm somebody that always tried my best to bring my full self to work. And for some people, I may have shown more of myself.
Your full self.
Professional content. Well, look, a lot of people put on airs at work,
yeah,
particularly true. As they level up.
Your honest
a lot of people
self.
feel like it's still, as soon as you get to certain levels of management, you've got to become incredibly stuffy and boring and just toe the line and get the haircut and do all the right stuff. I obviously did not feel that way. Obviously, I had shorter hair.
You pulled it back too, didn't you?
I did pull it back.
You played the game.
But,
I saw you had those little plaid shirts and stuff, man.
You know, they were not tucked in though. So, you know, we've all got to decide
I did too.
yeah. How we carry ourselves and how much we show of our authentic self at work. And, you know, some people want to separate those things more than others. And that's a fine choice. But
here again, it might be a community-based thing too. I mean, so if I insert myself into the community of people who are driving trawlers up and down the East Coast and like trying to go across the Bering Sea, which is like one of my next steps, I bet they're not going to ask me like, you know, so what is it that you do for a living?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? I do think it is a community-based thing, and also just personal confidence. Like it's like you said, you're happy with how life is going and completely satisfied with what's, you know, what your future plans are. Like there's nothing better than that. And I think the part when I start to get my back up a little bit, it's that little seed of doubt inside that says, maybe they're right. Maybe this is a dumb idea, you know? And I wonder if that ever goes away, honestly, because I sometimes I see you react like that too. But you know, it's natural to be questioning. I never think it was dumb.
Yeah, I never think it was a dumb idea. I'm increasingly confident that this was the right path for me. I do not miss most of the things about the workplace, and I've said this to you one-on-one before, but I miss the people. Right. I miss having those certain friends, or, you know, being able to kind of rally around something that was annoying and deal with it together and complain about it and triumph over it. Like, but you can have that stuff outside of work. You know, I don't miss the practice of work that I did. I was very fulfilled by it. It was at times exciting, at times awful. I don't miss it.
Yeah. Cool.
I got plenty to do.
You don't have to justify it to me, man.
Nope.